Well, Indiegogo is one of the world's largest crowdfunding sites, raising more than $950 million for projects in more than 223 countries and territories. Mark sat down with Indiegogo CEO David Mandelbrot and began by asking him how crowdfunding has changed the entrepreneurial landscape.
The main way that crowdfunding has changed the startup landscape is that it's made it easier for startups to validate the market for their product much earlier in the life cycle for that product. And so what it really allows startups to do is actually raise money early on from the ultimate customers of their product. And by doing so, they're able to validate the market. They're able to then prove to either future investors or to potential employees or to their suppliers that they actually have demand for their product. And as a result, it's made the road to launching the product for the startup a much less bumpy one.
What would you say is the fundamental difference between you and Kickstarter?
Indiegogo was the first company in crowdfunding. Kickstarter followed us about a year later. The primary difference between Indiegogo and Kickstarter is Kickstarter is focused exclusively on the crowdfunding campaign. Basically a 2-month period of time where an entrepreneur can try to raise money for a product that they're launching. Indiegogo has invested significantly in the life cycle of the entrepreneur. So on Indiegogo, we have formed partnerships with companies like Arrow Electronics to make it easier for entrepreneurs to get supplies for their products, to be able to get consulting on how to manufacture their product. We've also formed partnerships with manufacturers and retailers to ensure that the entrepreneur is not only able to raise money for their product, but to be able to take it all the way from a concept in their head to a physical product that's being sold in a store or elsewhere.
With Kickstarter, it is known as having all or nothing funding, but you've chosen a different route to have some flexible options.
There's really only one way to raise money on Kickstarter, which is to set a goal for your campaign, and if you achieve your goal, then you get the funds that are raised, and if you don't achieve your goal, then you don't get the funds that are raised. Indiegogo also, we refer to that as fixed funding. We offer that as an option. Another very popular option on Indiegogo is what we call flexible funding, where an entrepreneur can go on Indiegogo and they can set up a campaign, and they can basically collect all of the funds that they raise in their campaign, regardless of whether their goal is hit or not. That actually proves to be the most popular form of fundraising on Indiegogo. In addition, on Indiegogo, we have a product called In Demand, which enables an entrepreneur that has raised money through a crowdfunding campaign to actually take orders for their product after their crowdfunding campaign is over.
The latest data that I look at says that Kickstarter has a 43% funded project rate, while you have just a 9% funded rate.
On that statistic, it's not really an accurate representation of what's happening because, again, a lot of the campaigns on Indiegogo are what's called flexible funding, and so the goal doesn't really matter. It's much more of a number that's used for marketing purposes than it is a number that actually is a true reflection of the amount of money that the entrepreneur is trying to raise. It also, looking at the percentage of projects that hit their goal, also doesn't take into account the many projects that exceed their goal by an extraordinary amount. Last year, one of the most popular projects on Indiegogo was a project called the Flow Hive. It was a better beehive, actually. Their target was $70,000. They have raised over $13 million on Indiegogo.
Many people say Kickstarter is a little more limited in the projects that they accept, Indiegogo more welcoming. But that does lead to a lot of what the heck projects, like a guy actually funding his own dates. Do you worry that some of the off-the-wall projects could actually tarnish your image?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, when Indiegogo was first founded, part of the goal was to be an open platform, that anybody could raise money for anything on Indiegogo.
So you won't rule out things anybody can do?
No, we won't rule out things. We of course rule out things that are illegal, but we wouldn't rule out more outlandish products. If there's a community of people that are interested in funding those projects, we want to enable that to happen.
Right now, the standard percentage that you take, was it 5%?
Yes, it is. It's 5%.
you recently started a pilot program in China. Tell me how it works.
Primarily what we've done is that we've actually invested in a team that actually is based here in the US but regularly goes to China. In fact, all of the people that are on that team are currently in China right now. And they primarily do two things. They work closely with Chinese entrepreneurs to explain to them the benefits of Indiegogo and to help them learn how to use our platform. And we also provide an extra level of support for Chinese entrepreneurs that may need help with their campaign video, or they may need help in being connected to a really good digital marketing firm here. And so we try to make it as streamlined a process as possible for a China-based entrepreneur to be able to get up and running here in the US.